So it's been 2 months since I finished my Familia Romana challenge back in July. If you weren't here for that, I followed the lead of Alexander Arguez, the illustrious Alexander Arguez, and set a goal for myself to finally get through the entire text of Familia Romana, all 35 chapters. That was really tough. There was a lot that I didn't understand, but I do feel like pushing myself to do that one chapter a day without fail, even when I didn't want to, really leveled up my Latin. Um, I've been meaning to come back and do a video, kind of follow up, let people know what I'm up to, and that I'm still alive. But I always feel like I have to write a video. I have to write the authoritative resource, your complete guide to X, Y, or Z, and so I never end up doing it. That coupled with the fact that I'm not, you can look at my videos. I'm clearly not an experienced filmmaker. Gives me a little bit of, I'll do it tomorrow and tomorrow never comes. So I just figured I'd turn the camera on, ramble, let you know where I'm at. And maybe if these videos are acceptable to anybody or this style of video is acceptable to any of the people who end up watching them, I'll do more of them and I'll get gradually better over time. All right. So, like I mentioned, back in July, I think like I started a few days after Dr. Arguez did. So I think it was like, I don't know, it was like July something to August something. It wasn't a clean, um, boom, boom like his was. I got through the entire text and I understood more than I thought I would, which is, it was surprising. It was good to know that about myself, but there was still a lot that I didn't understand. I was shocked that I found myself laughing along with the jokes. I was shocked that I understood enough of the story to kind of get invested in some of the characters and the plot threads that you see woven throughout the narrative. I was surprised that I ended up wondering, hey, whatever happened to those people? We kind of just left them off. I wonder I wonder where they went. What became of them? If you had asked me, I would not have thought that I could understand enough to even have those questions in mind. I'm hoping the audio is good. I should have done a test before, but I didn't. But especially towards the end of the book, I really did start to struggle. They started incorporating different verb forms, a lot more like passive and deponent verbs, stuff I hadn't seen before. It's one thing if you're reading the earlier chapters of a book with a fair level of comprehension. Let's say there's a whole other can of worms, but let's say you do have the elusive 98% comprehension. Well, that percentage that you're missing starts to snowball as time goes on, and especially if you don't have a kind of a spaced repetition system gradually maturing as you're going alongside this, then even if you did learn the vocabulary when you initially saw it, it's going to be rotting in your memory, kind of a leaky bucket, so to speak. That's okay though. That's okay. Forgetting is part of learning. I'm at peace with that. All that to say that I was shocked by the quality of Familia Romana and by how much I got out of the process that you saw me do, and you can still see me do. It's still up on my channel, as embarrassing as those videos might be. They formed me, so I can't be mad at it. But I didn't start learning Latin just to do a 30-day challenge and be done with it. I didn't start doing Latin just so I can say, oh, okay, like maybe I can get good enough to read Familia Romana. No, eventually I want to be able to read scholastic philosophy. I want to be able to read the works of Virgil in the original. I want to be able to uh, crack open some of the great texts from the Itati and the Loeb classical libraries, and be either on the verge of tears or laughing my tail off, depending on the genre and the intent of the author. I want to have literary abilities in Latin. I want to be able to engage in conversation. I mean, there's a if you don't know, go to the subreddit. There's like a they have a calendar. There's some conversation group happening like every day of the week. Shocking but true, and you don't have to like pay money or anything to join. But my skills simply aren't good enough. I tried once. I couldn't understand enough what was going on, let alone enough to speak. That's another thing. Like I'm confronted by just how little I know. I'm not trying to beat up on myself. I'm just saying that like I don't know enough to do the things with the language that I got into the language to do, if that makes sense. I'm gonna take a little bit of sip of tea here. So I got to keep going. I think the first question to address is where have I been? Like, what have I been doing? As life does, life has happened. That's okay. You know, we all have our times, but I have not taken my eye off the ball as far as learning Latin goes. I'm trying to think of how to do the rest of this video. I think yeah, this could be fun. This could be fun. Let's do this. I've never shared my screen doing one of these live streams, so I think I might just take you guys through. I don't want this. They have this chat window on the side. Like no one's going to be chatting with me. I don't know why. Can I get out of this? I don't want to learn more. Okay, I know I'm looking like a boomer on screen on stream. No offense to anybody who's watching. Okay, I guess I'm just stuck with this chat window. I'm just gonna ignore it, and we're gonna share our screen. Okay, entire screen. All right. We'll click off of that so that actually let me minimize. I know you guys can see me. I know it was like a psychedelic trip here, and we'll do. Actually, we'll do this. We'll do this. Okay. I trust everything is she'll share my screen, so we should be good. Okay. So most of my activity has for the last couple of months has taken place in LingQ. Um, if you're not familiar, LingQ is a company owned by Steve Kaufman. He's a prominent YouTube polyglot kind of guy. At one point in time or another, he's had varying levels of ability in 20 different languages and has a working command of a lot of them at any given time. I really like his app. It allows you to. I'll keep it brief if you've heard this before. It allows you to. It allows you to import any texts or audio or video that you might find around the internet. So let's say that I go to library. I hate all this political stuff. I'm gonna figure out a way to block that. Okay, so let's say that I want to read something by Livy. I can click into this. This is way above my level, by the way. But if I were in Chrome, I'm not in Chrome because I've just had a couple of issues using it in Chrome. I would be able to use the link importer, and I'd be able to either select part of this and import it into the application, or go through the URL and do it that way. And then I'd be able to read here. I can actually click into a text so you guys can see. Let's go into a text here. So this I got from a website. Fabulae Faciles. I highly recommend this to any Latin learners out there. I can make a whole video on this. We'll try to keep it focused here. Let me know if that's something you want. amazing work. Please support them. I think they have a Patreon or something, no affiliation, but uh where am I doing here? Okay, so we can filter by level, so we can go from presumably easiest to hardest. I've found that this isn't exactly, I don't know, like I've read some stuff, so like what was it? I think this no. Yeah, this one I felt like it was way harder than some of the ones that came after it. They're all on the same level, so I don't know, but I've done a couple of the maxi readers in the last few weeks. So I just finished tonight actually Maxi's Cornelia, and the thing that's beautiful about this website is you can double click, and they have Alpheus software. That's another great tool uh, integrated into the site, so I can just see Nuke. What does Nuke mean? And I don't have to leave the context of the website. If I'm so inclined, I can just go full screen, blot out all distractions. There's no colorful stuff floating around. And Kur. Oh, I see. Okay, all right. It's asking me a question. Okay, Kur hic non est. Okay, what is est? What does that mean again? Oh, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so I think that's great. But the real killer app here is the fact that I can, again, going either from the URL, from the highlighting and just importing the selection into LingQ, or this is what I really like to do. How do you can print this out, and it has like nice formatting. I can save this as a PDF uh, and import the document into LingQ. And so that's how I got this. We'll do the whole view here. That's how I got this entire thing, and it got split into two parts because it was so long. I think the full reader is like 80 or 90 pages. Okay. Anyway, so I've been reading in LingQ. I'll wrap up this section, I promise. But you can track like how well do you know each word. Nunc, I know what nunc means. I know that means, I'll do that too, because that's kind of how I hear in my head. This, like I've seen it before, like, but I don't always, I'm still learning the verb endings. So I that NT that indicates to me like usually like a plural, but then is it they were, they are, like I don't always, I'm not always 100%. You don't need to be 100%, because this is kind of meant for maybe a more extensive reading approach, but uh, over time, like I'll be able to see these words mature. So I've rated this word a 2 because I recognize that it's like somebody's carrying something, but I'm a little fuzzy on the time when it's happening in the completeness of the action. What's cool is that the next time I see this word in a different text, so let's say that I have a podcast transcript that has this word in it, it will still be rated a 2, and then I can bump it up to a 3 if I felt like I was kind of familiar with it at that point. And then when I see it in a different text from that one, I'll say it'll have the same rating, and so the ratings get carried through time across different texts. Anyway, so LingQ is great. I can do reading here. I can do listening. I have a bunch of AI podcasts that I've generated on different, Thomas More, phenomenology, Plato's life philosophy, legacy. So I can do a video on that as well. But so I can read, I can listen, I can get statistics on how I'm doing over time. I would say this has been my primary, the place where my Latin learning lives for the past couple of months. Now, I haven't been nearly as active as I should have been. If we can go to my statistics, I'll be open here. Like I've missed days, and I've had like kind of like lower activity than I should have. Let me see. So we can see. Let's do like last. We can do like last 3 months. That'll capture the last 2. I didn't the month I was doing the Familia Romana stuff. I wasn't really doing LingQ that much. so I'm not going to count that against myself. But let's see. Maybe let's say words of reading. That's just like kind of an input. All right. It's the primary activity here. I wish there was a better segmentation, but okay. 1, 2, 3. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, there we go. Ignore this up here. So in the last 3 months, I'm being told that I have read 36,008. No, I'm sorry. Cumulative, I've read 59,088 words. Okay. You kind of see the slope here, which is interesting. You see the kind of ramp up over the last couple of months. All right. So we're in, I don't know why it's displaying this way. 8, 9. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. And so you see, I was like half as active in August as compared to this past month here. More on that in a bit. And then up here, there's an estimation of how many words I know. There's like some issues with this metric, but I think it's like it's a good trend metric. It's I think it's useful, and it wasn't it should be way higher, but I think I'm gonna have a goal as it comes to this. But this is how many words it thinks I know. That are words that are rated a 4 in the course of my readings. So I'll come in here. I will do my reading. I click into a text here. All right, like this is the second episode. This is a great podcast, by the way. It's really fun. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna know all this stuff. There's gonna be something I don't. So hola, I actually don't know what this is. A pot or a jar? Okay, I've listened to this several times, and you see, I've read it, but I haven't. I didn't know that pot or jar. Vasa, vessel, vasa. Okay, and I can see some translations here. I can look on. I can go to Wiktionary actually, and I can get my own. And so then over time, as I see this more and more, I'll gradually feel more confident that I know what the word means when I see it. I recognize it. And then when I haven't been good about my listening recently. But so you can see, like in the last 7 days and like 90 minutes, it's not good. It's not good. But let's just see my metrics here. So you see like a third of an hour that day. Like this is today. I mean, come on, what is this? We can track over let's do the last 3 months like we did here. Cumulative. I mean, this like an hour a week. More this month, but like, I got to bring these numbers up. But I like the fact that I can see the trends, I can see the data. This has been mainly what I've been doing. I've been mainly focusing on doing some reading since I've completed the challenge. I had a little bit of a period where I didn't want to just go back to Familia Romana right away, but I was like, what's the next step, basically, I really felt like I benefited from the structure that Familia Romana provided me. And before that, I'd done reading on LingQ, but it wasn't scaffolded and graduated the same way that Familia Romana was. And I felt that was like a really powerful aspect of the book's design. Like I think that's kind of why I got so much out of it. It's because like it's like Orberg specifically folded in certain vocabulary and certain verb forms and certain cases as he went on in a way that fits with the way the manner in which human beings learn languages. It's kind of a contrast to the somewhat random nature of doing things in LingQ, which is not bad. It's just It's different. So I think I've settled, or I'm starting to settle on what I want the next few months to look like. I'm just looking down a couple of notes I have here. So monthly reading and link. I think actually we can do this. Okay, let's see. Maybe we can jam on what comes next. So I think where do where do we go from here? I'm a guy who, I'd say I'm like upper beginner in Latin now. I'm starting to get some study skills under my belt. There's still a lot I can improve. Let me just click into this. I'm getting anxiety about like whether or not the stream is still going here. Okay, there we go. There's still a lot I can improve. Obviously, I don't want to plateau. I want to keep pushing. And I look back at the amount of progress that I've made in like the last year or so. I can do a video on like how long I've been learning Latin, why I started, but that's not the point of this video. Um, and I've really learned that consistency is the most important thing. Even when I don't feel like I'm making progress. Without fail, I look back on that time and I say, I wish I had not slowed down. I wish I had not stopped. I wish I never got discouraged, because when you can't lose when you're coming back to the text day after day and just swinging the axe. There is no replacement for just being consistent. Even I think honestly, it's better for me to do half as much every day than like 3 or 4 times as much every other day, or like every 2 days, or what have you, or be taking breaks in there. I think it's that powerful. And so I also want it to be something that is, I want my habits, my study habits, to be something that I can carry on for preferably a lifetime. I am settling in, and I have less of the anxiety now than I did about, oh, I have to learn this quickly. I have to get it, or I want to be efficient. I don't want to be stuck doing graded readers and, kids book. Rome is in Italy. Italy is I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. Obviously, I want to improve, as quickly as possible, but that requires sustainability, is what I'm saying. So I have, this precedes my journey through the entire text of Familia Romana. But I'd gotten the book before I started doing the challenge, and I'm an Anki user. It's kind of a little hobby of mine, and I've been working through, for several months now. I think since like, I don't know, it's been way too long. I've been working. I don't know if this is the deck. I'm not 100% sure. If it's not this, I'm close. Some guy took all the. I don't think it's this one, because like I don't the original one I had didn't have the genitive on the noun cards. Uh, yeah, but it was something like this. So my thought was that I can finish up this, like, whatever version of this I have. Someone just took all the vocabulary from Familia Romana, put it into an Aki deck. It's like, 3,000 plus words. My thought is like, I can do this alongside reading the text of Familia Romana. So that way I'm getting the best of both. kind of extensive free flow reading and availing myself of a spaced repetition system. And when I read Familia Romana, now that I've done a bunch of the cards, I I feel the power of those two things combined. I start kind of seeing some of the images in my head that I've associated with the word on my flashcards. I just feel like these kind of like dopamine hits. You see me tweaking uh, as I'm recognizing words and seeing them in a sentence and what have you. I really, really believe in it. I really believe in that synergy of doing flashcards that are kind of taken from a text that you're reading and then having time to read that text. I feel an efficacy there that I don't feel when I'm just reading something random. Although it does still help, I can still feel it helping my reading abilities as a whole. It's this deck is specifically targeted at Familiar Romana vocabulary, so it's just like it's way more palpable. Okay, all that to say, in kind of starting to think about like where do we go from here, I want to finish. What we do? Let's like heading here. It's a little. We'll do subheading. It's nice. I want to read through. I want to finish my read through of Familia Romana again. So right now, I started doing that after the challenge. I'm about at like chapter 12. I haven't been doing it like every day like it was. So let's do finish second read through, if I can spell, of Familia Romana. Okay. I want to the big holdup with the Anki deck has been, and actually I mean, I don't know if anyone's interested in this, but like I can show you guys, I think, some of the cards. All right, so this is my Anki. This is not just okay. Don't ignore that. I put all my Latin ones in the master deck. I separated these out just for time tracking purposes and stuff. But we can go to the browser and no, actually, we're gonna go master, and we're gonna do. I can just show you guys some examples if I don't know if that's of interest. Okay, so you can just see kind of what a sound might play. I apologize if it kind of blows anyone's ear out, but like this is an early version of I've been developing my card making practices as time has gone on, and so things have kind of looked a little different as time has gone on. But like, okay, I don't know if you could hear that, but like, so then the sound plays, and I have like some association. It's like a millipede, so it kind of like helped me remember that number. That was like an earlier one. I didn't really understand numerals. I still struggle with that a little bit. But then let's see. All right. Homo. What does homo mean? Homo. All right. And so like I have it's like homo what do they call it? Homo habilis or Homo erectus or one of those earlier kind of hominid species. And I have, light grammatical information on there. And then that card goes in both directions. This is a more recent one, still a few months ago, but like, okay. Aquila. And then I'll go the other direction. Aquila. Yeah, and then we have like a little kind of interesting factoid. Anyway, so I mean, I have a bunch of these, as you might imagine. I think I have about 1,000 notes to process in Anki. So both these, there's the two cards. They're kind of inverse of each other. English to Latin, Latin to English. Each of those is connected to a note. So I just need to make about 1,000 notes that are left in the Anki deck for Familia Romana, and then I'll be done. let's see, let's do around 1,000. Oh, basically, I downloaded this, or not this one, but like something like it, and I changed the card types to be more in line with Gabriel Weiner's uh, card type for basic vocabulary. And then I've just been processing those, so I don't just take it as it is. Mine was more bare bones than this, but even this, like I don't want just this information. I really benefit from having. I mean, I should. I guess I should just show you guys. Try to find like an example of like a verb. Core. No, I'm tweaking. I'm in the wrong deck here. Oh, no, okay. So I really benefit from having like this. So this is an earlier one. Just like a picture of a guy laughing. Like it helps me. That really helps my retention a lot. Here's like a AI slop generated. Yep. All right. But I don't care about the details here. I just like this really this it's kind of an obvious word, but that helped me. There's some other ones. So this one, there we go. That one really helped me as well. But like for verbs, sometimes I like to do. Again, I can get off this topic, but I just want to show you at least one example of what I'm talking about. Solios to be accustomed. No, that's a picture. I can remember what's on some of these cards. Kumo. Oh, is that a? Haha, there we go. Sleep or recline. All right, and so I have a GIF of somebody or this cartoon character snuggling into bed, and that helps me remember with verbs like things that involve motion, especially. That really helps with my retention. So it takes me a little bit of time to do that. I could automate that process. I could use an Anki tool that just auto populates all the pictures for me and puts in grammatical information, because I'll put grammatical info in too, just for reference. I don't score myself in that. But I think my retention would be worse for it. So it's as tedious as it is, and it is at times absolutely mind numbing, which is why I'm still doing it all these months later. I think that it's worth it. If I'm going to spend hours in this program doing revisions on the vocabulary, then I think that I should make the most of it. So, and I just have to do this big push, and then it's going to be way easier after this. So, finish the second read through of Familia Romana. Let's do complete. What is this? Yeah, there we go. Complete. Let's do Familia Romana Anki deck, and then it'll take some time for those cards to mature. So once I finish completing them, let's actually make the cards. It'll probably take a few months for all of them to really be like embedded in my memory, which is fine. Okay, I want to finish my second read through. I want to do. So I have been incorporating Refold. If you haven't heard of Refold, let's see. I have not heard anybody talk about this for Latin. Refold is a company centered on immersion-based methods for learning. But they're also not like, sometimes I go on like a subreddit or forum or something for Latin. And I think people are like scarred. I think that Latin pedagogy has taken a turn where it's like so grammatically heavy and grammatically focused, to the exclusion I think this is getting better, I think, but like to the exclusion of actual reading and listening with the language, that people have this reaction against any level of grammar study. Refold, and I find that a lot with like immersion learners, like you just need to immerse more. Refold, I think, actually has a really good kind of like balanced approach. So right now, I'm doing about an hour a day total, usually for Latin, and I'll do like I'm scheduled 10 minutes of grammar study. So I will kind of making use of this Henley. Let's see, I have a paper. I have two paper copies. It's more of a reference grammar though. It's good. Some of the explanations are pretty clean. They have like good tables and stuff like this, but it's not really made to learn from. So I've been going to I like this blog, this books and backpacks, and I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to be learning about interrogatives. So, and then that'll be relative. Done that. Let me last thing before I move on to verbs, which I'm scared for. If anyone has any tips, I'd appreciate it. So what I've been doing last week or so, which has really been beneficial, is I will take this as this document as a kind of a guide. But if I want more information, I will read an article. I like this lady because she has really simple, simply worded explanations. She has lots of example sentences. She has good tables. Like this is important. I'm putting these tables on my cards a lot of the time. I'm making closed deletions, or I'm sorry, image occlusions with them sometimes. I want them to look nice. But she also has like kind of explanation text. And I can make cards with all this, and it just helps me understand better. So, I know I'm all over the place here, but this is what happens when you don't make videos very often. Refold's roadmap takes you through the entire language learning process. This section is kind of more about their philosophy. This section, they kind of recommend that you. Is this the detailed? No, I want the. Okay, there we go. There's a simple and the detailed roadmap. The detailed roadmap, I have not read through the entire thing. It's super long, worth it, but I just haven't committed to doing the whole thing yet. This will take you through the philosophy if you just want to learn a little bit of like what they're about. This introduces you just some of the kind of tools and habits that you want to have introduce yourself to, familiarizing yourself with the sounds and the writing system. So how the symbols link to the sounds of the language. And then, I like the fact, so this is what I'm talking about. This is why I pulled this up. They're not telling you not to do grammar. I think that kind of stuff can fly with a lot of languages, because the grammar there are probably some confusing points, but I think the grammar is like more lightweight than it is in something like Latin or ancient Greek. Now, I don't think that's to say that we should just be taking this skill building chart chanting approach. I don't really think that works. I think that's been demonstrated time and again. But see, jump starting your comprehension, using grammar as a tool to make your input more comprehensible. This is where I think maybe people go a little bit too far to the other extreme, where we want to run away from grammar because we have such a negative association with it, instead of using it as a kind of a lockpick to open the treasure chest of the language and extract its riches. So I'll do my current routine that I'm scheduled for is 10 minutes of grammar. So I'll go kind of here. So I know tomorrow I'm going to be like, okay, I'm interrogative pronoun. I can see the chart here, but I want to know a little bit more about like what interrogatives are. I'm not really great with like grammar in English. It's something I'm working on. uh, but for classical liberal arts purposes, we can talk more about that later. Uh, but I'll like read an article like this, and I'll be making flashcards about it, and I'll be kind of like pondering. And I mean, like last night, I went for an hour. I was supposed to go for 10 minutes, just because I didn't want to break my flow. So this will kind of be a good starting point, and then I'll find maybe an article that fleshes that out in a little bit more detail. I know there's the Henley first year. I have that, but uh, it's a great book. It's awesome. There's a reason that I don't want to get bogged down with all the exercises right now. I just kind of want the streamlined, like get the basics of the grammar in me, and then maybe I'll go back and do a book like that. So current routine. Let me just do this to keep myself on track because I don't know how anyone's ever gonna watch this. We'll do current routine. My current routine is so they have priming activities. So that's gonna be Anki. I'm doing currently I was doing 30 for a while. I'm doing 20 new cards per day. So that's 20 new cards plus all the reviews that you have scheduled. And I'm doing grammar scheduled for 10 minutes a day. And then I have my doing interactive reading. And that's 30 minutes. Okay. So that's an hour a day. And I've been doing about that. So I found out that Refold, this company whose page we're on, has a tracking app. It's free to use. It probably won't be forever. You might be able to get grandfathered in. I highly recommend trying it out. One of the things I like most about it, I would show you, but I don't think they have a web version right now. One of the things I like most about it is how segmented all the activities are. It's not just reading and listening. They have all sorts of different like types of reading and listening, different types of grammar study. They've been very specific in allowing you to track different kinds of activities that you can do with the language. So, for example, then this is interesting to me. They will count watching a show with with target language subtitles as they'll call that 3-channel reading because you have you're reading it, you're seeing the visuals, and you're hearing the audio. Um, so that'll be like a form of reading. Interactive reading will be something like LingQ, where you're doing lookups. Like you saw before, I see, oh, I don't know whatever the word for pot was. I already forgot. I don't know what this means. Let me look this up. Maybe a little more of like an intensive reading style. So that's what I've been doing with LingQ. So my current routine looks like I want to. I need to listen more. And like how many minutes a day do I think I could get? I mean, even 30 minutes a day would be more than I'm doing right now. It's not a lot. I mean, for immersion learning purposes, I should be doing maybe hours, but I got some other stuff going on right now. Let's just say 30 minutes a day minimum. Like I've done more than that in the past. Like I understand more of the language than I used to, so it's kind of easier to do. And I can just set that as a minimum. I can exceed that if I want. Okay. I think we have a good myself too hard. We want it to be sustainable. Okay. So let's just say this is like my current routine. This whole roadmap, I would say that I am about, so they have, these stages. I would say that I am about when you go into the roadmap, they'll kind of give you these targets that you want to hit, so you know when to move on. So let me see if I can find the text here. Okay, so use a spaced repetition system to learn the 1,500 most frequently occurring words in your target language. I would say that I know more than 1,500 words. Between all the flashcards that I've done, all the reading that I've done, all the stuff that I haven't, all the reading I have in LingQ, I'd say that I'm probably well over that number, although it's hard to know exactly how big one's vocabulary is. Now, they also specify that you don't need to do all of the most 1,500 common, like 1,500 most common words before you move on to the next stage. Uh, but so this is stage one, just to be clear. I would say I'm somewhere in stage two. So this is like we're building comprehension. We have the basics, the kind of the foundation laid. Uh, so they recommend that you narrow down your immersion to a subset of the language. So maybe you're really into cooking. You're going to read stuff about cooking. You're going to watch chef Iron Chef shows and French or something. Let me take a sip here. Getting a little hoarse. The thought is that by like shrinking down your focus, narrowing your focus, you're able to decrease your learning curve. And then you can kind of get a more specialized vocabulary in an area of your choosing. You can kind of repeat that again and again. I think they're right. I think that's a really good approach. It matches up with stuff I've heard from some other sources that I trust. The issue is that we're not talking about French. We're not talking about Spanish. We're talking about Latin. And there are some like Latin, there's Luca Ranieri and there's Magistercraft and all that kind of stuff. But we have kind of in a way like a scarcity of like really of like easy content. I should say easy and engaging content in Latin. It's a real problem, I think, for learners, myself included. So that makes incorporating some of this stuff and executing on it makes it kind of tough. Where would I say I am here? So they have like some of the types of reading. I've been doing the intensive immersion. I've been lacking free flow immersion. So that'd be like me just reading Familia Romana, not worrying too much if I don't understand everything, just kind of keeping it moving. Best of both worlds. This is what I love about these guys. They're not, psychotic about this stuff. Now, there are some YouTube channels. Maybe I could try that. Maybe that would be actually a good idea for me to like incorporate. But there's nothing like Dreaming Spanish for Latin. I think Magistercraft and some of the videos that Luke Ranieri did back in the day. You'd see him kind of grocery shopping and stuff, and he's holding a tomato and he's saying it in Latin. Those might be my best bet. I think I haven't really done all that stuff all that much to this point because I've been focused on doing the high frequency vocab with Anki and reading and stuff like that. And my listening comprehension hasn't been good enough to follow, but it's getting better. So maybe that should be something that I do more of. But then there's only a few people to watch content from. All these other, if I were learning like Spanish or something, I have like an unlimited pool to draw from. And so fighting boredom would be way easier. Whereas like there's only so many Luke Ranieri videos, as great as he is, that I'm going to want to watch. But maybe that's a bridge that I cross when I come to it. Returning back to the question that I'm asking myself, where do we go from here? I think the next step for me is going to be we'll do next stage. Okay. I think the next step for me is going to be starting to sentence mine. Let me think here. Let me think. So okay, so like this, I'm gonna okay start. So sentence mining is when you are taking uh, like words, sentences, phrases, and whatnot directly from your immersion material. So I instead of just learning, my case is a little different. I because I'm doing a my vocabulary directly from this reader because the pedagogy in Latin is weird, but it's kind of the exceptional case. Um, Most of the time, people are like just working through a frequency list, or they're doing something like this, just general high frequency vocab list that they're working through. It's not attached to uh, a particular text. But instead of doing just like orange, banana, red, blue, green, now that people are moving towards like the word. Let's say I was an English learner, I'm going to mine the word sentence. I'm going to like this is going to be my card, and then I'm going to have like maybe like closed deletions or something, or bolded, and I have to know what this means, or like mining. Like, what does mining mean? I'm going to put this whole thing in Anki, this whole sentence, right? And then I'm going to do something with it to like turn it into a piece of learning material. I think that I should start doing that after I complete the Familia Romana deck. Okay. Um, Now I can do I like to let me do let me see 30 specify here. I do like 30. I kind of split the Familia Romana cards into like batches of 30 when I'm working on them. Um, so I think it'll take me about like 30 more sessions, something like this. I did the exact numbers. I ran it through a calculator, but um, I think it'll take me about like 30 more sessions to get all those done, and then I'll be done with that phase. I'll be glad to have that behind me. After that, I think I'm going to start sentence mining. There's a bunch more readers in the Lingua Latina series, so let's do. There's this great. There's this great guide. If you haven't seen this, I really recommend looking it up. Oh, no, I don't want to save. I don't know what that means. All right, let's see. Let's do open this in new tab. All right, so I think this is originally in Dutch or something. It took me a little while to get my bearings on this chart. I used to not know what I was looking at, but this is what I'm thinking, right? As far as the reading material goes, because like it's important to keep in mind that the just so you guys know what I'm talking about, the spaced repetition system is what SRS means. That's something like Anki. That's an ancillary activity. And Gila, it's the handmaid. It's the helper. It's not supposed to be the whole event. I think language learners, I've definitely done this. We kind of turn that into like the main activity. I'm doing a big push with it because I have like a specific goal that I want to accomplish. I just want to get like this phase over with. But really, where you're learning the language is when you're reading, kind of receiving messages and understanding them at higher and higher levels. So, like, where do we go from here? Okay, what am I going to be? What am I going to be reading after Familia Romana? And I think that this chart will be a good guide. So I have a little bit of a plan. We'll see how well I execute on it. I have, you see that? I have a copy of this Colloquia Persanarum. Narum. Got to work on my pronunciation. Personarum. Better. Really short. I mean, it'll take me a little bit it'll take me a few settings to read through. My reading speed's not great, but it's like, like 70, 80 pages, something like that. And it kind of covers side stories that are happening parallel to Familia Romana. So you see that like Familia Romana up here. I don't know if I can. No, it's not going to work. Okay. Familia Romana covers these 35. So it'll cut off on the left side, but goes from here to here. Right. So it ends there. The Colloquia is kind of meant to be read over the first like 24 chapters. In fact, I think the book itself is vicessimum tertium, vicessimum quartum. Okay, so yeah, the 24th. So it itself is 24 chapters. So I could pair. I could be doing, and they actually do, in some places recommend you do this. I can pair these two. Read a chapter of the Familia Romana, and then kind of loop the Colloquia in. And then parallel to that, they have the Fabella Latinae. I got a PDF of this. I couldn't find like a print copy or there were like a couple different editions floating around. What I do? Okay, I don't know. It was weird, but I found a PDF. I don't know if they sell it anymore. It was a little unclear to me. And then I got my hands on a Fabula Syri as well. And so this kind of trifecta, I think, should take me out of this kind of stage. Now, the question is like how to structure this. Like, what do I do with these books? Do I just read them? I don't want to be doing the second pass through Familia Romana is like, I've already read this stuff. Like, I don't understand all of it, but I also kind of want to read something new. There's only so much I want to force myself to do. I still want this process to be like enjoyable, even if it's not always fun. So I guess the question for myself is like, do I want to read this more than once? Okay, so I think let's just write down, because I'm brainstorming along as you're watching this, kind of trying to figure out what I should do. So let's just do Colloquia, right? Syri. So I think that's like the trifecta for when I finish the Familia Romana kind of main text. What I might do, because I found some PDFs of these, I might load these into LingQ and then do sentence mining from LingQ, because it's like the digital format. All right, so just so you can see, if you guys can see my cursor, my idea is I load up, so you can, for example, was that this right here? Okay, so this is a good example. I have Fabella Latinae in here, right? So I can open it up. And because it's digital, I can like, okay, well, I don't know, Quis, what is Quis? And I can turn this into a flashcard. Okay, I have a plugin that'll help me do this more quickly in Chrome. Cuyus, what does Cuyus mean? What does weird mean? All right. So maybe what I can do is be doing my in doing my more intensive reading in LingQ, where I'm doing lookups and stuff. I'm kind of getting exposure to the words, sentence mining from that, getting a little ahead. So like what if I started Fabella Latina now? Maybe I shouldn't start it now. I don't know. Okay, let's just say I started. So let's say that like I am at chapter 15 of Familia Latini, and I'm going through, I'm reading it, and I'm kind of reading it intensively, and then I have another copy, like just the document, not in LingQ, just like the paper. Actually, I don't think I could find a paper book on this. um, but like the PDF, and I'm just reading from the PDF like on my tablet. And I'm just doing that free flow, kind of more extensively, not doing lookups. Maybe that would be a good trifecta. I'm getting 2 passes over each one of these resources. The colloquia, I don't know if that would be necessary, but I mean, we'll see. There's some nice sentences in here. That'd be good mining material. Okay, so just to be clear, the idea would be maybe start reading ahead with these, then come do an intensive reading first, where I'm doing lookups and maybe some flashcards, then come in behind, and then like I'm doing kind of marching along, right? So I'm doing like I'm starting doing the intensive, and then I'm trailing. I do a second pass free flow, a second pass extensive reading. Maybe I can do that, but I don't know the exact method yet. That sounds pretty good to me. But that's one idea. I definitely do want to get through these readers though. Okay. And so I think that you see there's like these are all on kind of like this similar reading level, I think. Um, so I think it'll be a big graduation when I finally get through the Familia Romana deck. I get through a second read through. I'm continuing doing this whole routine, this whole time, and then I'm I'm reading. I'm doing some of these readers. So these are all by the same publishing house. If you haven't heard of them before, they're really good. I really recommend kind of like availing yourself of some of the readers that are in this uh, by this publisher. They make very high quality stuff. Um, but I think like once I finish these, it'll be kind of another graduation, kind of another step up in my level. Now, there's an infamous gap between. Okay, I didn't plan that, but like between Lingua Latina and Roma Iterna. Roma Iterna is ostensibly the part two to Familia Romana, but I've heard that a lot of people kind of get lost when they try to make the jump immediately. And so this chart suggests all sorts of texts that can kind of bridge the gap. So I've found documents of these as well. The sermones, the De Bello Gallico, all these. I kind of stand in the middle, and so I'm thinking like I still got to figure out like, do I want to do these in LingQ? Will it work in LingQ? Will the formatting kind of get like part of the reason that Familia Romana works is because they have that margin system, like the margin notes system, because they have the pictures. Those are really helpful, and you lose that when you put something into LingQ. I'm gonna have to do like maybe a little bit of a test with that. But the point is that like so the next stage I think would be doing some of these, right? Um also then Sermones Romani. And this is gonna be really and so this is not just the regular De Bello Gallico. This is like a an arrangement that it's still in the Lingua Latina series. So you notice I've been saying Familia Romana specifically. That's the first title of the orange book that everybody knows. all of these other books are technically part of this series, as I understand it, but they gradually work you up to. They're in the same like lingua latina style, and they have like the margin notes, and they have pictures and stuff like that. And I think they gradually leading you up to be where you can read uh, kind of sections from unadapted texts. Okay, so this De Bello Gallico, it's not the entire work, as I understand it. It's like kind of different like chapters from it. But that'll be like the closest thing to legit Latin that I've ever read at that point. So that's really, really exciting. I'm a little scared, but we can do this. We can do this. And so I think the next stage here will be I can't even spell this. Amphitrio. I know somebody's yelling at the screen right now. Sorry, I'm getting tired. I've been talking for longer than I planned. I think this video is more for me than for you at this point. Okay, and then as we're doing this, we're sentence mining. Okay, the entire time. There we go. So I think, let me see. We'll bold those, and then I'll just, okay. So that's the next stage, and I think that'll probably be enough material, hopefully, both with the retention boost that I'm going to get. Are you all good? Okay. With the retention boost that I'm going to get, just make sure we're still live here. Okay. From doing the sentence mining and in the flashcards, and the amount of words that I'm going to be exposed to from doing all of these readers, potentially more than once. I got to see how I feel. There's even your boy has limits, but there's some good stuff in here. There's I mean, look at these names. We got Tacitus and Phaedrus, like Caesar. I mean, this is crazy. I think with the retention boost, the sheer amount of volume that I'll be doing, that should be enough to get me over that kind of interstitial hurdle. Okay, so there's Familia Romana, Roma Eterna, Volume 1, Volume 2, and there's this chasm in between that people have trouble jumping. That should be a good enough ramp. Now I think now we go back to the refold, choosing what to mine, mining sentences. They have a whole I really recommend going through this guide if you're interested in doing this. I think that more. I'll talk about this maybe in another video or later in this video, but I think as learners of Latin, we gotta be availing ourselves of some of the cutting edge of language learning, the actual cutting edge, not what people say is the cutting edge. Some of these ideas are hard to implement with Latin, but I think we can do our best. So they have different guidelines for different kinds of cards. I'm looking for if they have a recommendation. Okay, so monolingual transition. I'm looking to see if they have how many sentences you should mine, up to what, how many words you should have in your SRS. No matter. So we're getting through this Familia Romana, the second pass through. We are continuing with this daily routine that I outlined for you guys. I'm going to be incorporating more listening. My voice is starting to give out. I gotta wrap it up. Once I finally finish, which I can finish within the next 2 to 4 weeks if I push. Um, Once I finally finish with this, then this is gonna be so much better. I'm gonna be able to start with this next stage. I'm availing myself of these readers here, and I think that like gets me out of this zone of baby's first Latin. Then this stuff here in the middle gets me to where I can pop open Roma Iterna. All right, and that's going to be a big transition, but we can do it. Kind of a more intermediate text, as I understand, or I don't know, maybe it's just still beginner, but it'll feel intermediate to me. Uh, okay, and so alongside Roma Iterna, I'm gonna need for this too. I'm gonna have to either find them or make them. But audio, that's something that we don't have enough of as language learners of Latin. Roma Eterna, I think I might have seen a couple floating around. I'm gonna want audio for that, and I'm gonna be wanting to do probably sentence cards. Continue to do sentence cards for Roma Eterna, and then I'm gonna be this is my plan at least. I want to get through all these other readers as well, and so this is a lot of other reading material. I mean, this is 3 other books just in this stage alone. And again, in addition to the fourth, which is the primary, the Familia Romana, and then we have 4 books in between, and then we have Roma Itiana, which is this big, fat, thick book volume, and then we have I can't even count 2, 4, 5. We got 7 other books, so this is a lot of stuff. Um, but I gotta think that at that point I'm gonna be like gonna be pretty nice with it, hopefully. And then once okay, so that'll all right, and so we'll do then, right? I'm looking a little too far ahead in the future for my comfort, but and then we're gonna do Roma Iterna, okay? Now I believe the way they laid this chart out, it's like they start at 36 here, and so like because it's volume 2, this is Familia Romana is 35 chapters. The first chapter of Roma Iterna is 36th of like this continuous stream. That's as I understand it. I think they put it like this here because it's like around 40. You want to be implementing some of these readers, right? So I might just follow this depending on how I feel. Um, like in Roma and Familia Romana, famously, there are some points where there's like a slope up in difficulty, and people can kind of get really confused and turned around. So maybe this if I did this, let's say I read through chapter 36 to 40, and I took a little bit of a break, and then did Ars Amatoria, and then Aeneas. Um, I don't know. Maybe that would be good. Maybe that would be like a good way to uh, keep some variety, keep myself from getting bored, but I also don't want to lose the plot of what's going on in the main line. Regardless, I don't have to figure that out right now. But like, all right, and then we're gonna do like, and the other readers. Okay. Now, this with consistency, I'm keeping a grammar habit going. I'm still doing lookups. I'm still doing my spaced repetition. I'm starting to do sentences instead of words. And I'm doing a crap ton of reading material. I've got to be at a decent level by then, right? So I think that like that will be huge for me to like get out of. I got out of like the just Familia Romana. I escaped the Familia Romana stage, like the larger orbit of this kind of beginner's hell. I got through the chasm where people go to die on this journey. I got through the big, you know, green meaty volume that is we see it here. That is Roma Eterna. and I got through the companion readers, and that brings me out of the same way that I kind of escaped the Familia Romana orbit. Maybe that helps me escape the Lingua Latina orbit. Now, I have a whole sequence. There's this video I'd really recommend. Maybe I should put some stuff in the comments or something. But there's this video that I really recommend. Decaglossae. It's like how to like learn to read and speak Latin or something like this. He has a great sequence for working through. I think he said he read through Familia Romana a few times. Then he did every other reader in the series. I think that includes all this stuff. And then I think he went to Beeson's primer. Of medieval Latin. Okay. Now he says, after you finish this the Lingua Latina, you should be able to read this book swiftly without a dictionary. That's the one. I got a paper copy of this. Okay. I am interested in medieval Latin. I am interested in theology and philosophy and stuff. So, I want to be able to read that stuff. I want to be able to read Latin from a wide variety of time periods, not just classical. So I think I can stop here. This is already projecting out like a really, really long time. Maybe this might be like the next year for me. I think this. I mean, I'm not really sure how long these things are. I mean, I could probably finish this. No, not even 6 months. I could probably finish this within like the next quarter. And I might be like being a little like downplaying my ability, but okay. So we do all that Roma Aeterna and all. I mean, I feel like that's going to take me a while to get through. So let's just say this takes me like 6 to 9 months. And then I think once I get into Beeson's, that's another big milestone where I'm starting to get into like proper primers. I think there's like the De Duobus, the De Historius, De Duobus Amatibus, or something like this, like Story of Two Lovers. There's some other kind of like Latin like middle grade books, and I think that I'll be kind of reaching escape velocity. I'm sure it'll still be difficult, but I've been doing this for a little bit, and it just feels like I'm starting to maybe be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's kind of my plan as to where we go from here. I do need more audio though, and my listening skills aren't. I want to be able to read the Vulgate. That's another thing. I want to be able to crack that thing open, maybe mine some sentences from it. Maybe a whole other thing. Okay, so I'm going to segment that off because that's like not part of the. Okay. The audio problem. There's a gentleman who's been kind enough to put a bunch of audios up for Familia Romana. I purchased Orberg's official audio for the book. But then you need to be listening to language. I think that Latin learners don't listen nearly enough, and it's understandable why. There is a decent Vulgate recording that's classically pronounced that I found out there. But again, it's like the hard thing with Latin is just the fact that there's this gap. And like to get to the higher level stuff, which is just things you would be normally reading in your native language. It's like a wasteland to try to pick through. I don't want to be ungrateful. Like this is it's amazing. We have the it's amazing that we have the riches that we do and um all these readers. I feel terrible complaining when we're looking at this huge list of reading material. I'm just saying like in comparison to some other languages. Um I'm gonna so I have a couple things that I've been listening to. I'll make this might be worth making a video actually on I'll make podcasts sometimes with Google's Notebook LM tool. I'm pretty bullish on that. I think if we can nudge them a little bit, we can get them to kind of tweak the tweak the Latin model because right now it's very just clear. It's kind of just Italian, like somebody like an Italian pronouncing Latin words. The podcasts are a little above my level. I enjoy them because I can make them on topics of my choosing. You showed you some of the ones that I had before, um, and I will listen to those. They are a higher level than what I should be using for like pure listening material, but my level's going to be getting better. But yeah, I have to make sure that my listening level kind of keeps pace. So I might be looking into other AI tools because like my pronunciation isn't nearly good enough yet to like be making audios myself at this point. Um, I know Notebook LM is an AI tool, but I'm saying like maybe something else. Maybe I should just like be listening to the Vulgate audio. Like I don't know. I think what's his name? Scorpio Martianus, the Luke Ranieri, yeah. Um, there's like set Saturnix or something. I saw one of her videos in the feed earlier. I'm maybe watching some of her videos. Magistercraft. These are more like I mean I could listen to them. These are videos, not audios. Maybe like lectures. There's like Paideia. I can't spell right now. Lectures. There's a whole list actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, that I found of good Latin audio, or Latin audio, but it's a varying quality and clarity, and a lot of it doesn't have subtitles or transcripts along with it, which has kind of been why I haven't been availing myself of it. Maybe I should just find / make subtitles plus transcripts. TurboScribe has been like decent. You can use TurboScribe to get audio transcript and like Latin transcript from like Latin audio, and then clean that up with ChatGPT. I've had like decent results with this. I've had good results with this actually. So maybe I just have to do that. Be more consistent about like just churning out transcripts using that tool. Maybe okay, and then I'll just use Latin audio from Big List. I know that's just a list I have. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but I also know that what's it called? Latinitium, I think that's the name of the company. They have a bunch of stuff. So there's some options out there for the audio. Yeah, I think this is like maybe this answers the question, like where do we go from here in Latin learning. I think that like me doing the second pass through here, getting all those cards done, getting all these readers done, and then like moving forward from there, taking it one day at a time is daunting to look at. I'm like, geez, can I do this? But honestly, there's if I keep coming back day after day, I'm using the SRS. I'm just doing the routine that I've shown you guys. There is no way that I can fail. Like, it's not a matter of me being intelligent or not. It's just a matter of exposure to the language. So, um, if it were up to my intelligence, then I might be cooked. But um, with this much exposure, which I'm lucky to have access to, which is a regular person, there's no way that I can fail. The only way that I can fail is if I get discouraged. And the only way I can get discouraged is if I like push myself too hard or expect too much for myself or set expectations, maybe at all. Like, oh, I should be here. I should be able to do this or that. So, um, I think that's a good plan. I have, if anyone made it to the end of this video or watched any of it at all, I'm sorry for rambling so much. I just wanted to get a video back up on the channel. Maybe I'll post smaller stuff in the future if anyone wants to hear from me. Let me know in the comments, and if you're interested, I have some ideas on future directions that I would like to go. Maybe some things that I would like to contribute to the community to help Latin pedagogy as my skills get more advanced. Uh, you've been very kind in watching this as far as you have, no matter how far you've gotten. Let me unshare my screen here. This, oh yeah, it's recursive. This is a nightmare. Okay, stop sharing. Yeah, that's it. That's my plan moving forward. If there's anything you want to know about, then let me know. I'll let you know. Thanks so much for watching. You'll have a good night. Bye for now.